I'm live. Okay. Going out into the cosmos, letting people know I'm here. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the live. Welcome to the replay. Yeah, I'm glad everybody can make it today. My name is Mary June Tracy, and psychic medium, spiritual level life coach, and astrologer, bringing you the 411 of the cray cray of the world. Cray cray of the world. Hello, Instagram. Hello, YouTube. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Whew. You know, sometimes when you watch something, and lately there's been a lot of different YouTubes and documentaries that have been coming across my feed. And it's like some of the ones aren't ones that I've usually watched, right? So I've been very intrigued. I'm like, okay, let me click on it. And it just blows my mind because it's like things that I always knew, like I just always had a knowingness to. And a lot of it has to do with the Knights Templars and the whole thing about the Knights Templar, and that yes, they still exist, yes, they're still around, and how things are just unfolding right now, and with the war effort and everything else, and how it correlates with the Knights Templar. And then there was another one about this young girl who did the genealogy of all the presidents of the United States, and I think there's only two that don't go back. One had a lineage to the Dutch side, and I think Trump is the other one who did not go back to King John. And he's a Pragtagoras, if I'm saying that right, 1166. They all, every single president, including even Obama, go back to him. Go back to that. They can go back to his lineage. And this young girl just discovered it as she was doing hers. Very cool. I'm just like, okay. And then there was all History in the Stars that was just on 3 hours long with the Leo King and a historian. So my mind, because my brain's just like it's just going crazy. And how, so much, especially within the astrology, how that is actually playing out today, and how we're in this really crazy timeline of unfolding, and how things are being done. Now, a lot, like even Trump, I'm going to tell you, like, he's basically meant to shake shit up. That's what he's meant to do. And he's doing a damn good job. People are freaking out there. So he's here to shake shit up. He's here to be that antagonist, to get things done. That's his goal. That's what he is part of his, I'm going to say, mission. And in that, this is where things are beginning to get to change. This is where things are getting to really look at things in a more clear way. That's why so much is bubbling to the surface. And we got, when I say bubbling to the surface, I think of Pisces. Pisces, being that kind of energy, that things come up, right? It's the ether, it's this huge expansion, and you have Venus right there with lovely little, Saturn, and the two of them together, and she's really slow. She's not going to go forward until about 4 hours after the full moon. Now, this is like bringing in a lot of things and a lot of judgment. Now, when I think of Venus and Saturn together, they're like, he's the big dude and she's just this pretty little thing, but they're like the judgmental couple, right? That are coming in to judge you on shit, right? And like, oh, look what you're wearing. Oh, look what you're doing. Oh, look at this. So very judgmental. So all of this issues that you have start coming up. It's like, going to school and you find out you have a zit on your nose. You didn't have the zit when you left the house, but you got the zit on your nose. And here's these little judgmentals like, oh, you got a zit on your nose. Don't you clean your face? Don't you do this? And so your brain starts going into this crazy spin of saying, my God, I don't clean my face. I'm not very good. I'm dirty and blah. So this is about like really taking a step back and saying, okay, nah, I clean my face. Yeah, things happen. Sometimes I get a zit on my nose, right? So this is taking, so you can get a clear picture. It's like taking, when you take a step back from something, you can see things clearer. Like we've seen when people take certain pictures and say, look at, he's beating that woman. And then you get another frame where the person steps back in a different angle. He isn't. He's actually helping the person up. It's reframing things. It's getting you to look at things in a different light than you didn't look at before and not get caught up in the stagnant of it all. Now, Chiron, when I was taking a lot to do with, when I was taking some astrology classes, I still take astrology classes because there's just so much to learn. They talked about Chiron and really looking where Chiron is in somebody's chart and then doing a reading from there. I've taken classes from different ones who say, especially from the Vedic, you start with the moon and look where the moon. So anyways, going in and looking at Chiron. So there's the sun and Chiron nuzzling up together. When I saw that, I'm just like, holy shit, I should have noticed that before, because Chiron and the sun are going to come together at 23 degrees exactly on this full moon. And I'm just like, holy shit. And then exactly like within that opposition of the two, we have Venus going to be going to direct. So it's like almost like all of a sudden, all of this is going to be bubbling up. All of this Aries is going to be bubbling up. Bill Maher's, and if you guys know who Bill Maher's is, he's gone to the White House. Now, Bill Maher's is the biggest critic, very Aries, because I think he's a 0 degrees Aries. Going into see the person that he has criticized. Like he's never been nice about Trump. Like really, he never really said a really wonderful, hey, Trump looks good today kind of thing. He's very critiquey, very criticizing of him, all the way back going to, I think, 2014, 2015. And Bill Maher, he's been a huge supporter, a Democratic supporter. He was for Obama. He was for the Bidens. None of them ever asked him to the White House. None of them ever asked him to come in and have a chat. But Trump has invited him. So he's having dinner with Trump and a couple other people. And he's going to tell you, like this Friday, I'm not going to miss Bill Maher's about what happened with him, with him in the at the White House. I mean, because Trump wants to know what are your concerns, which is interesting. And that, and then I go back, that Saturn Neptune, with Saturn, Saturn's going to be in there in May. This is so Aries energy, where it's like, yeah, I need to know, I need to understand, I need to be able to have a good picture of things going forward. And I found that so interesting. And then with this full moon and everything coming up, it's all, within 48 hours of soaking up some spirituality, of allowing ourselves to really ascend, to transform into a new way of thinking. And Mercury being on the North Node in Pisces, and he's sort of, North Node is like very, it's doesn't just sits there. It's a wobble. So with the Mercury there, he's going to pass over and go into the other side. This is where we're getting a lot of looking at how we want stability in our life. This is where we are wanting it to be a certain way, or we're thinking it's going to be a certain way. But this is where it's like, no, we got step by step, piece by piece. And that's that Chiron energy saying, like, don't rush this. Don't overthink this. You want it to look a certain way, you want it to be a certain way, you wanna have it now, and it's not you're not gonna get it, right? It's not gonna be that way, the way that you think it's going to be. And this is where it comes in, it's like, I need to see the beauty in what is around me now. I need to see that picture of what it is now and take a step back and not be freaking out over things. People like you're seeing right now, people are freaking out. Ah, tariffs are 135%. There's a reason they're going after China, right? World War II, it was Japan. This is flipped, it's China. There's a huge underlying energy of why they're looking at the Middle East too. And that goes back to the Knights Templar. It goes back even further. It goes all the way back to King John. It's like the layers that are there that people, you just on the surface, you just like, okay, it's just this, it's just that. There's such an underlying current, and especially in the way that the earth is moving and the transitions that the earth is going through. Where 2012, the earth was at its peak, like it came up, and now it's going down into the descent as it goes through the universe. So we're going through this huge change and taking off these layers, just like it's the year of the snake. We're taking off these layers. They're coming off. In us being able to be rebirthed, reborn, renewed to a new understanding. And this is why you're going to see a lot to do with, things to do with the dismantling of a lot of the churches and the belief systems when it comes to the churches and the institutions. It has to do with the institutions. It doesn't have to do with God. God is there. God's a constant. But in what has been written and brought out to a belief system of people having to believe. Another few things that came across, and I was, always wondering about, why are they keeping the Pope alive? Why is he still alive? He should be dead. Like, he's not exactly. He's not the spit and health image, that's for sure. I mean, I wouldn't put him up as being like, "Ooh, this is the epitome of health." No, this is the epitome of death. And the reason being, and it has to do, now get this, with the church and how they had control over a lot of things that happened in the White House with Biden. And the Leo King was just talking about that, but he wasn't the only one talking about it. I listened to a couple other videos about people talking about that and about the Vatican and how the Vatican is in control of a lot of things, and why they don't give a shit about the UK. The reason why they don't give a shit about the UK is because of what King Henry VIII did, and he was excommunicated. So they could whatever, you guys, you want to be taken over by them? Go for it. Right? So I'm finding it, all of these, I know they're conspiracy theories or all of this that whatever you want to call it. But I find it very interesting how they're coming together in this point in time right now. And with this energy, it is for us within all of this wobbliness, this craziness, is to find the stability within our lives, to find that renewal and within our own spiritual self, and connecting to the higher realms, which is the God self, and coming into that energy of the God self. And this is taking a lot of societal things that we've been taught. This is taking, if you were brought up within any church, with any religions, even within the pagan religions and the witches, this is this is beyond that. This is beyond that. This is way beyond that. And this is going back to even, Babylonian times. And what had come from the Babylonian times. I mean, from the Babylonian times came the zodiac, came came astrology, came a lot to do with the writings and the configurations of how the planets were moved, and it came to a lot to do with, things to be written down, and um numbers, right? So a lot of that, sort of came from that era. I know people are going to tell me I'm wrong, but whatever. That's fine. That's fine. But this is where it's like, this is about reframing our ability. This is about looking at our self-judgment, what has been self-inflicted, and that's very much, Venus and Saturn coming together, and for us to really take that step back and pay attention. Pay attention to what's bubbling up, not only in your life, but in world events, right? Because this bubbling up of what's happening in the world is going to have a huge effect on how you do your daily life, right? How it's going to affect the Muggle world, right? So that's why it's so important to make sure that you have that spiritual stuff in alignment, that spiritual stuff, all that, spiritual alignment, and finding the beauty in all of this difficulty, even when you want it to be different, you want it to look different, you want it to be different, but you got to find that there's beauty within all of this, and allowing yourself to see that beauty within it. There's so much here that I'm trying to put it together in my little head. And it's where, and this has been shown on Instagram, where the head of the military in the United States, his big tattoo is a Templar tattoo. And you're like, oh, like, it's like something people are like, oh, he's got a cross on his chest. No, that's a Templar cross, man. The Templar cross is equal, right? It's not elongated, it's equal. And so it's an equal armed cross. And this is where it's like, oh, interesting. So we know that we're going to battle. We're going to battle. And what that going to battle is going to look like, and what that's going to mean for us. Because I said, a couple years ago, that we're in a holy war. And this holy war has been stirring for some time. And one of the biggest things is, like with the Templars, I mean, part of the dismantlement, of course, was the King of France and the Pope didn't like what the Templars were doing. One, I mean, of course, acquiring great wealth from around the world. They're excellent masonries. So a lot of them went to Scotland when there was the dismantlement, when they started the Masons. And one of the things with the Templars, with the Masons and Illuminati, um, all of them, they all believe in God. And of course, there's a lot of satire and everything else that comes out about them. And, the secretness and the secret societies. And Pluto in Aquarius brings in secret societies. So secret societies are going to start coming out. You're going to start hearing more about them. You're going to start seeing them more, right? Hence the Templars, secret society. They've been around. There's a lineage of them. There's been many people, videos and stuff recently on podcasts of some Templars coming out and talking. And so there is this frequency of change that is saying, hey, we know there's a higher power. There's a way, even for healing, like the Templars, depending on the level, they're taught herbology. They're taught how to actually extract the extraction of herbs, and what that extraction of herbs can do for healing, right? So they have that information on how to heal with the plants, how to heal with the energies, right? So we have this whole frequency that's there, that that has been dismissed, because what they wanted to bring out within, and here I'm going to go back, just you got to follow me with all this shit, with the universities and bringing in men as doctors. Another reason why you wanted to get rid of the witches, you wanted to get rid of a lot of the midwives and the healers of the community, because they knew and they had information that could help to heal people. and in bringing that healing out, but they didn't want that healing, right? So a lot, I mean, you had, and I, this is the other thing I came across during the Black Plague, there were actual women coming out and wanting people to open their doors to get sunlight, clean their houses. I mean, really into cleaning to get, because the Black Plague was transferred by fleas, and the fleas were on the rats, and they were saying we got to clean this up, and they were like, no, 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 they don't know anything, you got to hide away. What did we just do 5 years ago? Hide away from everything. You can't go out, you can't see the light, right? How evil, right? How evil. But there were a lot of midwives and healers coming out saying, no, you can't hide away. This is happening in the darkness. This isn't good. So, and then of course it spread from there. But this is where it's like people are coming out and saying, no, you can't hide away. You got to come into that light. You got to come into it. There is a new fight in our hands. And this fight that is coming in, these boots on the ground that are coming in or that are already here, are bringing in where we have to start to reevaluate, reframe, relook at how we live our lives and how we are connected to God. And I said God, I didn't say Jesus, I said God. And bringing that connection with God. And this is where it's like very important that people look at their own relationship, your own personal relationship, and how that is with your connection, right? And what that connection looks like for you. Because that's so, so important. Because even when you look into the lineage of Jesus, I mean, which is a very broken lineage, it's kind of, there's a lot of not nice people in his line, which is also showing that also where did a lot of his learning come from? I mean, he did go to Egypt. He was brought up in Egypt. So there's a lot to do with a lot of the mythology and a lot of the Hermetic teachings that he received from Egypt, and also the teachings that he got through India, and understanding the different gods in India and into Tibet. Very interesting. So there's a lot of information that has been dismissed or not wanting people to see. That's why you have, okay, we're going to go back to why the church, we'll go to the Catholic Church, wants to keep all that control. And here we have things like the Knights Templar. They don't want to keep the church, the Catholic Church in power. That's not their goal. They just they want an understanding of, the truth of God, and bringing in that truth of God. There's a temple in that is not open to the public, that it has on it, because the Templars went all through Egypt, right? And there is on one of the hieroglyphs, there is a covenant. There's an ark that's on the side of this hieroglyph, and the Templars put their cross in the 4 directions around it, and it's quite cool. I mean, it's very difficult if you find pictures. It basically would be people who've been there, and they're usually Templars who have been allowed to go in to see it, but it's not open to the public. And the Templars made their mark all through Egypt as well, and making their marks through Egypt, which I found interesting. Anyways, off on another tangent here. But it's, for me, it's it's this knowingness that I know all of this. It's not that I know all of this, but I have a knowingness of this and how deep it is. And it's just like, that's why when I watch things, I'm just like, people, it's just like, this isn't what you think it is. It's just like with this election. And I'm watching, I'm just like, okay, people are really hyping up Pierre. They're looking for a savior right now, to come in. And and we're going to go back to China, because that's the other reason why Trump is going after China, because there's because China isn't doing as well as what people think they are. But this is going to have a huge changing of the guards when it comes to China and the whole Chinese thing. Well, exactly. Exactly. I mean, with Mark Carney, because Mark Carney has a huge, I mean, yeah. Um, his attachments to China go deep, right? So there's a lot that's going on there, especially with the whole Liberal Party and the reason why Pierre didn't go in for the top clearance, because if you go into that top, you can't say anything. That's why many times when people ask me to join a club or join, I mean, I've had so many ones, um, what is it, a Canadian Facebook group or whatever on, yeah, Canadian, buy Canadian, I'm like, I won't be a part of, I won't affiliate myself with any of that. I will watch it, I will be an observer of it, but I'm not going to be affiliated with it because there's just, it's another one of those crazy little distractions that are out there that are going on. But the same way with Mark Carney, where it's like, the way our political system is, just because there's a majority doesn't mean that Pierre will be prime minister. Just the way the system has been set up. So there's a lot of things there that is a part of that awakening of getting people like, holy shit. Having yourself to take a step back, take a whole picture of it, right? And look at the whole picture. Yeah, Pierre's making a huge impact going across Canada, definitely. He's got this huge fight on his hands, but he also knows that he's up against a lot of crazy evil powers that are there too, that do not want him there. Do not want because the thing is like right now in the United States, they're going after all the Chinese that are in the United States that own property. So anything that has to do with any Chinese that own property, I'm not going to say Asians because it's not Asians, not all Asians, because that usually you group into, this is Chinese that they're going to be going after. Panama Canal, he's going after the Panama Canal. They built it. Teddy Roosevelt's the one who put the money in for it to be built, right? And now two companies on either end of it are Chinese companies, and affiliated to the Chinese government. We have a new liberal in the Toronto area who, there's pictures of him singing with his Chinese uniform, to China, like, praising China, praising the CCP. So this is where, when I go back to the astrology, I'm like, holy shit, that's, when Saturn gets in there in May, there's going to be like more shit that's going to come up. This is where more things are going to be starting to rise up, because people are having to take a huge look at everything that's going on and open their eyes and not just believe because this person said, I believe this. This is the way. This is the truth, right? Another division created, could be a huge division. A huge division. I mean, you're seeing it. Another one has to do with the Middle East, the Middle Eastern influence. You have people like Winston Churchill and others who spoke out about the Islamic religion, the Islam, and having them infiltrate the country. You've had others who spoke out about it, and this is like very much where, with the Magna Carta that came out in 1215, King John speaking out. Okay, we can't just have just one person saying this is the only way. we need to have a voice, right? This voice has to come out, and not being, and this is where that judgmental part could come out, because you might be thinking to yourself, well, I'm not good enough to say this. I'm not good enough to do this, right? That judgy part. So this is where you have to really take a step back and take a look at it. So this is like, there's some weird codes that are going on, and they're, you know, coming up. It's like, why this young girl, was a young girl who did the lineage. Like, she was just doing her own lineage, and then she came across one of the presidents in her lineage, right? And it's like, oh, well, how is he related to me? And then she found, oh, well, hold on, there's this president that's with this president, that's with this president, that's with this president. And as she just kept going on and going back, all the way back to King John. So which is very much where at that time, with King John, he was born with the Saturn, Neptune, Sun, Moon, Mercury, all in Capricorn. Like, crazy energy he was born with. And so this is where you see a lot of people who were born in 1989 have very much the similar within their chart as well. So it's interesting to see how these changes are coming in, how things are opening up, where we have to really take a look at. I think my husband put the heat on. Hang on. I got to turn it down, or I put it on. Somebody did. Hang on. Don't go anywhere. Whew. There we go. Mama's going to start doing a strip show pretty soon because it's getting so hot in here. So, so this is where, when I look at the history, when I look at a lot of what's unfolding for us at this time, this is for us to just keep soaking up spirituality, so that we are able to be that defender of oneself, be the defender of our families, and what we believe in, So, and Mars is at half speed right now. I mean, he's going faster. So this is where people might get overreacted on wanting it to be differently, wanting it to see differently. But right now, it's just piece by piece, and we have to go through all of this. And as we are going through all of this is where it's like, okay, don't get crazy, because it's going to be a lot of Chiron energy that's going to be coming in as well. So, baby, craziness. I'm going to look into this a little bit more, but I have got other shit. This is where I could just spend my whole day just looking at all of this stuff and getting into it. But I got readings to do today, and I want to get everybody's moon reading out, and I'm going to probably get it all done today. Get all the moon readings done today and sent out. So. And there was a good talk with Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson too. That was a good podcast. I didn't watch the whole thing as yet. I'm halfway through that one, but there was a lot of information, even with Alex Jones. I mean, and the information that he comes out with, and a lot of people call him crazy or batshit crazy and stuff like that. But he has he's predicted a lot of things, or he's gone in and he's looked at a lot of different things, right? I love the readings you send me. Oh, thank you. I have them basically done. It's just getting them done. Oh, got the full moon card. Flew out. So this is all about completion. So the full moon and the completion. Look at that. Love that tree. That is one cool ass tree. I took a picture of 2 trees this morning, and they looked like they were dancing. my head they were dancing. And yeah, I just love because when you get the little crooks and everything, you can see kind of like a personality within the trees and how the trees want to, you know, they give life, they give form, and they let you know, like even in their deformity or what people might think is deformity is such beauty. So there's such beauty in the imperfections. So this full moon is coming into a completion, coming into, things are completing here. It's coming to the fullness. So taking a look at the things, especially with Libra. So we're looking at what are those completions and the wounds, because Chiron is right in opposition of it, right? So what are those wounds that are coming in? They're completed, they're done. We don't have to sit there and mull over it and make us feel worse. It's like, yeah, okay, I got a zit on my face. I got to deal with it. All right. I'm going to, pop it, do whatever I need to do or clean it. Things have to get done. Right. So that's where it is. It's like this is at a completion. Things have to, be let out. And with that, we come into the creation, the dream time. So this came out with the moon. So this moon is great for creating, great for allowing you to step fully into this beautiful spiritual energy and really connect with that divineness, really connect with the god and the goddess. Allow for you to just like put some mantras on, right? Sometimes there's certain mantras like I won't play because I'll just start crying because they bring up this emotions. There's songs that bring up emotions, right? Put them on in the background. Allow for that energy, that vibration, because the thing is that when you are listening to a lot of this music, it's the vibrations that come through, right? So you're, even when you are doing the tones for each of the chakras, right? And you use your own voice, that's a cleansing, that's a healing that's coming through, a vibration that's allowing that vibration to allow for the creations to happen, right? And there's so many things that are happening in this picture. It's like, holy crap, you got people over here. It looks like there's apes over here. There's all these sea creatures down here coming up into the sky. And I mean, there is a lot going on in this, right? Like this one, this person over here looks like they're like, like, what the hell? How, why am I going down there? But there's just so much there that's happening during this. So very beautiful, very cool card. So it is an Aboriginal of us of Australia. So the Aborigines of Australia are called the first people, the original people, and they believe in dream time, and is a place before time and outside of time in which ancestral spirit beings came to earth and gave all of life its form. And once the work was done, these spirits remained in the very forms they created, including animals, hills, stars, and other features of the land, and continue to be present today, including songs and stories that have been handed down 60,000 years, although Aborigines would say that they've existed since the beginning of time. So your breath is a crossover between spirit and physical reality. Breathing comfortably and steadily helps you align yourself with spirit, which then brings a clearer focus. Very true. So doing some even breathing exercises of allowing I use my thumb and my index finger here. You close one side of the nostril, breathe in, hold, and breathe out through the other side. Breathe it all out. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out. I just did that twice, and my head's just feeling like, whoa, because it's oxygen. You're oxygenating your brain, right? Or the breath of fire. You don't do the breath of fire if you're on your period. Only just do deep breath. But if you're on your period, you don't do it. But if you to do the breath of fire, very cleansing. And as you're doing that fast rapid breath, you're pumping your stomach at the same time, and that's really cleansing, and really releasing. And if you can do that in the cobra, if you get down and you do the cobra and do the breath of fire, start with 1 minute, work your way up to 3 minutes, and then if you can do it 11 minutes, it it's amazing how brighter you look. So and that helps with clarity. That helps with allowing for you to bring in clarity for you and bring in creativity for you. So with this full moon, I'm going to say do some breathing exercises. Start beginning to do some breathing exercises. Work on the breathing exercises in order for you to bring in the creation. Bring out things. Get some modeling clay. Play with some clay. Play, if you're starting to plant seeds, bring in seeds you wouldn't normally bring in, not just vegetables, bring in flowers. That's what I've been telling people is like, people are like all, with all their plants and stuff. I'm like, well, where are the flowers? Bring in the beauty. Flowers have power, right? It's not just the marigolds, but bring in some flowers that you're able to pick, right? So cutting flowers so that you can bring the cutting flowers into your house. That illuminates, it brings in beautiful creations, beautiful light, you know? So I feel like there's like some real simplicity with this energy today. Yet within that simplicity is dramatic change and transformation that's coming in with this as well. That is getting us to open ourselves up and open our heart and our souls so that we are able to better align with the new energies that are coming forth very rapidly for us. So much there, people, so much there. Yeah, just so much information, but it's like, okay, you know, it's getting us to really take a look at our world and take a look at our own selves and what we're hanging on to that we don't need to hang on to, what's working for us, and go with what we need that's working for us and step into what's working for us and let go of what's not, right? That's where we're at. Okay, people, go out there, be shining stars. Let your shine and be beautiful, be loving, be caring, be all that you are and more. And may the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all that you say and all you be and all you do. Shine, baby, shine. God bless and the goddess bless. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.